Hi, and thanks very much for joining. I think we'll kick off, even though there might be a few others joining the webinar. So, my name's Katie Mead, and I'm an International Recruitment Officer in the Faculty of Science and Engineering. And I have my colleague, Dr. Amanda Rogers, here today as well. She's an Associate Professor within our Geography department. And we're here today to talk about the Society, Environment and Global Change Master's Programme that we have here at Swansea University. So in this session, I'll give a quick overview of the university, and then I'll hand over to Amanda to go through the specifics of the course. And then at the end, I'll give you the opportunity to ask any questions that you may have. Feel free to use the Q&A functionality to ask any questions as we go along, and we'll try and answer as many as we can at the end. Cool. So those who aren't familiar with Swansea, we are the second largest city in South Wales. We're around 3 hours away from London. We're really well connected by train, by bus, to some of the bigger UK cities. So the train goes straight from London past Bristol and Cardiff to us. It's a beautiful coastal city with a population of about 250,000, and it's becoming a very diverse city here. And as you can see on this slide, we have two beachfront campuses. We've got our original campus on Singleton, which is the bottom left, and that was built by a wealthy local family and has been part of the university campus since 1920. And in 2015, we built we invested £450 million in a state-of-the-art teaching and research facilities, which is our Bay campus on the right. Both beaches are right on the beach, and I think what I love about Swansea is we've got a lovely mix of being in the city and also on the coast. So there's, I guess, something for everybody if whilst you're studying here. So we are very proud of our rankings here at Swansea. We are currently ranked 25th overall in the UK by The Guardian, and the university was originally built to upskill the local population. That's definitely what's done today. So over 93% of our graduates either go on to graduate employment or further studies within 15 months of leaving the university. So I'm just going to hand over to Amanda now. I will stop sharing my screen, and she's going to talk about the course in a bit more detail. Is it letting you share?
Cool. Oh, it's not. Sorry, I'm on the wrong slide.
That's okay.
Okay.
Yeah, we can see it now. Thank you.
Yeah. Let me start there. Hi, so I'm Dr. Amanda Rogers, and I'm one of the course conveners for the MSc in Society, Environment and Global Change. I helped found this MSc a few years ago because we really wanted an MSc that engaged young people in the world around them. So we're bringing social and cultural perspectives on environmental and other big crises that are happening in the world right now. And it's very much an interdisciplinary course and trying to think about how these problems that we're facing right now in the world, even at a local level, are often interconnected. So what I'm going to cover today are basically the course aims and ambitions, the structure, what the degree looks like. I'm going to give you a little bit of a talk through one of our sample modules, and that's on crisis, which is led by my colleague, Dr. Angharad Closs-Stevens. She's on the right of this photo. I'm on the left, as you can see. This is with our students last year. I'll talk through some of the careers and skills that our students have gone on to do in the last year or so, entry requirements and fees, questions around scholarships, student experience, and then, of course, any questions you have, please contact me or ask them now. Okay. So basically, this MSc is an interdisciplinary master's, and we're trying to think about how you apply social science theories and ideas to real-world problems. So really trying to think about that connection between theory and practice, and also thinking about how the problems that we're seeing in the world right now, from conservation to questions around climate change, how all of these things might actually influence the kind of social science theorizing that we do in turn. So it's sort of seeing a reciprocal relationship. The course is one of 4 postgraduate taught degrees offered by Swansea University Geography Department. But the key thing for us is that, unlike the other degree programmes, it is a social science orientated programme. That's really important to note. Our other schemes are more sciencey based. This one is a social science base. And what we have, I should just say, is that we have students who come to us. Each year we've had a student, maybe this year I think we've got 2, who have come to us actually from a science background. We've had people from biochemistry and from biosciences who want to expand the way in which they are able to approach particular topics, and learning social science methodologies is giving them a greater range of skill sets through which to address the kind of challenges that we're facing, and understanding the real complexity of the situations that we're in. So that's been a real bonus. It's a real kind of seen as a course that actually expands people's skills to address these crises that we're in. So we're thinking about social, political and cultural frameworks for addressing multiple and cross-cutting crises. This is the thing we tend to think, and the media tends to present our crises in isolation, whether it's migration, climate change, human security, global inequality, but in reality, these things are often interconnected and increasingly are interconnected. So for example, one of the things I've been talking about on my course is around exploitation and the legacies of colonialism in shaping our current environmental disasters, but also how that feeds into everything that we're doing in terms of production and consumption, everything from fashion to kind of sugar production. So it's quite an interconnected course. So just to give you an idea of what the programme actually looks like, in overall terms, it's divided into part 1, which is 120 credits, and this is your main taught component that you do over 2 semesters. So generally students do 60 credits or 3 modules in between October and Christmas, and then they do another 60 credits, 3 modules after Christmas through to May. So 6 modules in total. And this could be a combination of lectures, seminars, discussion, reading-based seminars, field trips. It could be lots of different things. The assessment is mostly through essays, through readings, through reports, but those are our main assessment modes. And then part 2 is the dissertation, or an independent research project, where students are able to pursue a particular topic that is of interest to them. And we have quite a wide range of issues. From this last year, we had people doing work on dealing with carbon credits and impacts on land use and loss of land and land ownership. And through to creating blue and green spaces in a city like Swansea for health and well-being. So it's quite varied. So it's an independent project, and it forms, it's around 10,000 words, and that forms your final 60 credits. And the overall degree is calculated through an average, so that each bunch of 60 credits is evenly weighted. So just so you can see exactly what we require students to take and what a rough idea of the options, this is our provisional programme pathway for this next academic year. We can't be 100% sure yet, but this is just to give you an idea on what we're offering this year. It depends partly on staff availability, but our 2 compulsory courses are GGM28, which is Society Environment Relations, which is a course that I lead and run, does what it says on the tin, and we address a whole series of debates from Anthropocene to questions of justice, to questions of interaction with animals, all sorts of things, and what the future might look like. Our second core module is on crisis and global change, which is led by my colleague Angharad Closs-Stevens. And then, so those are two of the core modules, and then there's an option. And because it's an interdisciplinary masters, we have options from politics and international relations. A lot of students, choose violence, conflict, and development, or approaches to international relations. And similarly, we do have students from politics and IR also taking our modules as well. So it's quite a nice interdisciplinary mix. In addition, because we have some students who come from a science background who want to learn new skills, we also offer environmental dynamics, which is part of one of our other degree schemes in geography at master's level, and GIS, Geographical Information Systems. And you can take that module even if you have not learned GIS before. So there's the opportunity for upskilling within this scheme as well. And then in the second semester, the one compulsory module is on qualitative research methods. Again, this is something that is housed within geography, but we teach it to students from across the university, actually. So again, it's a good interdisciplinary module about like the basis of social science research and theory from a methodological perspective. And again, I do a lot of teaching on that along with my geography colleagues. So then after that, we also strongly encourage, it's not compulsory, but we strongly encourage students to take advanced research in human geography as well. There's a potential to go on a residential field trip as part of that. And that's really a module about looking at cutting edge debates in human geography. This year it's on rethinking the urban, actually. So that's what we're doing with the students this afternoon, in fact. But there are, again, other options. A lot of our students also take the climate science and policy, which is led by Professor Tavy Murray, who has sat on the International Panel for Climate Change. So she knows a lot about it. She gets all these amazing speakers in and asks students to do like roundtable discussions and debates and to imagine they're at a COP summit and that kind of thing. But some of our students also take other options on heritage law and conflict and on critical security studies. So again, there's the opportunity to tailor a little bit where people, according to where an individual student's interests actually lie. And then of course, you have your own independent dissertation as a student over the summer period, led by you're assigned a particular supervisor, and you work with that supervisor to produce your dissertation over the summer. So what you can see from the programme is that it's quite top heavy. So at the beginning, we're giving you lots of concepts, lots of ideas, lots of themes, lots of things to think about. And then in the second semester, we're really encouraging students to try and think about, okay, well, how do we apply these things and how might we go about researching them? And then the third part of the programme is now go and do it. So just to give you an idea of a sample model, this is Angharad's module on crisis and global change. So the module is based around thinking about different crises and questions around why some crises are more visible than others, and what are the forces that drive, for instance, the migration crisis in the UK to be perceived as a crisis, whereas at the moment in the UK, like the environmental crisis is falling off the radar a little bit. So what are these kind of uneven impacts of these crises? Why are they portrayed in a particular way? How might they unevenly impact people and places differently as well? And so what does crisis as a concept, as an idea, and as a state that we're in reveal about these bigger dynamics about power, identity, inequality? How are these things all interconnected? So that's a very popular module, I have to say. We get a lot of students from politics taking that one. So how is this module taught? You have 2-hour weekly meetings in term 1, so from October through to December, so combining a lecture and a seminar. And the seminars, again, can be discussion-based, they can be presentations. She brought guest visitors in from local organisations, relevant local organisations. They've done field trips, so they all went to the Welsh Senedd, the Welsh Parliament, last semester, to think about the kind of how the Welsh government here is trying to address certain environmental crises. So thinking about these things, actual site visits as well. The assessment is a 4,000-word essay, and she also runs essay surgeries to discuss the ideas to make sure that students are on track. And it's taught by Angharad and Richard Smith, who's another member of staff in our department. And he talks a lot about, in this module, a lot about urban crises. His expertise is in global cities. So how are global cities responding to various forms of crisis, financial, economic, and environmental? So what kinds of careers and skills can you hope to get from this programme? In the UK, we have this SHAPE discourse at the moment, which is about social sciences, humanities and arts for public engagement with society. So that's what the SHAPE actually means. And it's really thinking, well, actually, you know, science alone is not enough to think through about how we might address and understand problems in the world. And we need to be creative and work with others to achieve that. So lots of things around how to make decisions, how to design research to capture the complexities of a situation and understand it fully, how to analyse it, gaining independence, all of these kinds of things. We've got a range of graduates who have gone to work in a whole suite of careers, civil service, NGOs, charity sector, think tanks, journalism, media, technology. At the moment, actually, a lot of our students have gone on to work either on as research, but we also have people working in with conservation charities in the US. People have gone on to work for Natural Resources Wales. They've gone on to work for the Carbon Trust, another kind of independent organisation trying to make sure that we're on course for net zero and helping businesses and organisations adapt for net zero. The Al Fallon Trust, or lots of environmental organisations in the mix, as well as going on to being like sustainability officers in local councils. So we've had quite a wide range of careers. They've often got like 2-year, 3-year placements at this stage. So they're doing really well. And they've often said like actually having the broader skill set has been really beneficial for them. So what are entry requirements and fees? You should hold an upper second class honours degree, so a 2-1 or equivalent, in a related social science subject or relevant work professional expertise. As I said, though, we do have students with a more sciencey background, but who deliberately want to come and study things from a different perspective. In that instance, what happens, we do get a lot of queries. I have quite a lot of dialogue with the admissions team. So it really does help what people actually write in their supporting statement. That's really important because I do read it. I do take account of it, and I do consider everything on that basis. So a 2-1, and must be in a related degree, related area of, or if it's not directly related, then explain why you want to move into this area. If you hold a qualification from a non-UK institution, we have specific requirements, which is available on the university web pages, and you will need an acceptable pass in an improved English language qualification if English is not your first language. So all of these things apply, and our fees are set at 20,500 for British pounds for international students. So there are various scholarships. There's mean tested grants and loans for Welsh, English and EU students. There's a full list of scholarships for international students available on our university web pages. There's the typical things, you know, the Chevening scholarships, that kind of thing. We also, in Wales, depending on what country you are from, we have the Global Wales programme as well. So there's lots of options, but you can see these because they really do depend on where in the world you are from. So you need to have a look at that, but there are funding opportunities available. This is Rachel. She's one of our, just to give you a sense of how students have found this experience. So this is one of our international students from last year. She came from America. This is Rachel, and she describes her experience here as a bit of a leap of faith, but she was made to feel very welcome. And actually the same thing's happening this year. We have 2 students from Ghana, 1 from Germany, and then some British UK students as well, and they've really cohered as a group and really help and work together. That happened on our first year as well. It's not a massive number, it's in sort of 8 to 10 to 12 numbers, it depends year on year, but they've really cohered as a group, and you really do get to know your lecturers really well. So she said she's enjoyed learning about the debates, especially from a human geography perspective when it comes to climate change, and it's been challenging but rewarding. As again, she's someone who came from an earth science background. To kind of really think about this in a different way really challenged her, but she used a whole suite of tools, as she said. So if you have any questions, please ask now. Our programme's open for applications. If you are a current student at Swansea, you don't need to provide a reference. And you can obviously ask questions now, but please feel free to email me or Angharad Clough-Stevens if you would like any more information. If something occurs to you at a later date, then please contact me. Okay, thank you.
Thanks very much, Amanda. That was really useful. We've had a couple of questions, and you've touched on it as questions
Okay.
came in around scholarship. So I've shared the link to the scholarships page, which is also on the presentation, and
Great.
you'll get a copy of the presentation after this session. And yeah, I would recommend, as Amanda said, have a look on that page, and depending on which country you're applying for, there's different scholarships available, and you can apply through that way. I think the international scholarships are opening shortly, so you
Yeah,
can
they are.
you can have a look on the pages and apply directly there. You know, it's not something we can guarantee, but it's definitely worth applying, I would say.
Yeah,
Um,
you have to have been offered a place in order to apply for the internal scholarships, but that's not normally an issue. But they are competitive scholarships, as of course they all are, you know.
yeah, cool. I'll just stop the recording there, and we can go into questions.